Man, what a total disaster for Venezuela. The U.S. Marines just obliterated Maduro's secret submarine base worth $899 million in a mere 15 seconds. While Venezuela's Chinese-supplied air defense systems were busy scanning the skies, American demolition experts quietly planted explosives at a depth of about 40 feet underwater. Stick around for the latest updates, because this amphibious assault has redefined the word impossible. Drop a comment with the number 1 if you're backing the US, or number 2 if you're siding with Venezuela. Venezuela's covert submarine empire wasn't just some production facility worth $899 million. It was a scheme to build an invisible naval force, capable of operating right in the U.S. maritime backyard without ever surfacing. The underground complex near Tucacas Bay, buried under a mountain, housed 3 separate pressure chambers, each big enough to hold an entire Kilo-class submarine hull. During upgrades, Venezuelan engineers installed special sound-dampening panels tech, similar to what makes Russian subs nearly undetectable by sonar onto diesel-electric subs bought through Iranian shell companies. Each upgraded sub could haul about 4,400 pounds of cocaine across the Atlantic, operating silently at a depth of nearly 1,000 feet, beyond the detection range of most Coast Guard patrol aircraft. But what no one saw coming was that this entire facility had a fatal flaw that no Chinese technical expert could eliminate. And that flaw was embedded right in the mountain structure. Every underground military base faces a technical paradox. The deeper you build, the more ventilation you need. Venezuela's submarine assembly complex required constant air exchange to prevent toxic gases from welding, diesel fumes, and battery acid from endangering the 200 workers inside. Chinese engineers designed an intricate ventilation system with a massive exhaust port, about 26 feet in diameter, positioned at a depth of 40 feet below sea level to vent hot air without being spotted by satellite thermal imaging. This system circulated over 1,765,000 cubic feet of air per hour through titanium-reinforced ducts at an installation cost of $12 million. Venezuelan security planners were so confident that they only stationed minimal guards around the underwater vent, assuming no enemy could even know it existed. But finding the exhaust port wasn't enough to destroy the base. The real question was, how do you get explosives to a target 40 feet underwater without triggering the entire coastal defense network monitoring the surface? The Seal Delivery Vehicle, SDV, is the most advanced infiltration platform ever designed for underwater warfare, and the operation at Tucacas Bay proved it. The Mk-11 SDV used in this mission is basically a mini submarine, able to carry 6 operatives plus about 880 pounds of demolition gear, moving at a speed of 9 miles per hour in complete silence. Unlike traditional subs with propellers, the SDV uses a shrouded pump jet propulsion system that produces no bubbles, making it invisible to sonar systems designed to detect mechanical propeller signatures. As the SDV glided along the seabed at a depth of 46 feet, its navigation computer received real-time updates from the USS Delaware's combat system via an encrypted underwater acoustic modem, a tech that transmits data through sound waves at frequencies that marine life and enemy hydrophones register as natural ocean noise. Venezuela's coastal patrol boats, equipped with Iranian sonar, were only listening for diesel engines and propeller bubbles, completely unaware that 6 U.S. Special Ops fighters were just 1,300 feet from the target, carrying enough explosives for a controlled detonation. So, the million-dollar question is, how do you plant explosives on an underwater vent designed to withstand powerful storm currents without tripping the security sensors monitoring pressure changes inside the facility? The Mk-48 Mod 1 linear-shaped charge isn't just an explosive. It's a surgical cutting tool, focusing 85% of its blast energy into a superheated gas jet traveling at over 26,000 feet per second. When placed correctly, this explosive can slice through 12-inch thick reinforced steel like a knife through butter. The Marines positioned 14 individual explosive charges in a calculated geometric pattern to trigger a sequential structural collapse. Each charge was attached to the exhaust port's support columns with pressure-resistant magnetic clamps and adhesive, ensuring they wouldn't budge even under strong ocean currents. They determined that if the charges detonated in the exact sequence with a delay of 0.3 of a second, the blast waves would create harmonic resonance, amplifying the destructive force by 340%. The operatives synchronized their detonation devices with atomic clock precision using dive computers, ensuring that once the sequence started, a domino effect would unfold. At 3:52 in the morning, the shaped charges detonated in sequence, and the laws of physics became Venezuela's worst enemy. The first 3 charges severed the main support columns of the exhaust port, instantly creating a structural gap that ocean pressure exploited in a split second. Seawater rushed through the 26-foot diameter breach at a rate of over 634,000 gallons per minute, driven by the pressure difference between the ocean depth and the facility's internal environment. The submarine assembly area was designed as a positive pressure environment to prevent water intrusion during construction, but the engineers never accounted for a catastrophic scenario where the entire ventilation system collapsed at once. Venezuelan rescue teams arrived at the surface entrance 20 minutes later, only to find a mountain sealed shut with seawater gushing out of the vent shafts. The most staggering part? The U.S. pulled off this sabotage for less than $400,000, taking out a facility worth $899 million. But the big question every defense minister is asking is, can any underground fortress truly survive an enemy who understands your structural engineering better than your own architects? While the operatives were planting explosives underwater, the USS Arleigh Burke, stationed 97 miles offshore, orchestrated the most sophisticated electronic deception operation in Caribbean naval history. The ship's ANSY-6V1 radar operated in a little-known mode, passive detection, using electromagnetic waves from Venezuela's own radar network to pinpoint locations without emitting any pulses. Meanwhile, an EA-18G Growler electronic warfare aircraft generated cooperative decoy targets radar signals mimicking incoming cruise missiles but embedded with digital signatures that U.S. systems recognized as friendly, while enemy fire control computers flagged as real threats. Under the Chinese military doctrine that Venezuelan forces were trained to follow, they had to immediately redirect anti-air batteries toward the highest speed threat, meaning every air defense radar turned away from the coast, while the real sabotage team operated at a depth of 40 feet underwater. The destroyer's Combat Information Center recorded every Venezuelan communication, tracking the exact moment their air defense network fell for the virtual threat, creating a 12-minute window when coastal coverage dropped to just 34%. But the most devastating aspect wasn't just the deception. This attack fundamentally changed how nations will approach building underground military bases in the coming decade. Venezuela poured 3 years and $899 million into a facility wiped out in 15 seconds by a 6-man team carrying explosives worth less than a luxury car. Chinese military analysts are studying the Tukaku's collapse to revise their doctrine on underground naval bases, realizing that synthetic aperture sonar has advanced to the point where no underground structure can hide from adversaries with cutting-edge ocean mapping capabilities. Venezuela's disaster proves that modern warfare has shifted from armor versus firepower showdowns to battles of information dominance and structural engineering. Maduro's base didn't fail because of weak defenses. It failed because U.S. intelligence identified a core vulnerability that no amount of reinforced concrete could protect: the thermodynamic need for air exchange. So, what's keeping defense planners up at night? If a 6-man team with $400,000 worth of explosives can collapse a billion-dollar underground fortress by exploiting basic physics, how many other supposedly impregnable military bases worldwide are just overpriced coffins waiting for someone to find their thermodynamic Achilles heel? Venezuela just got schooled with a billion-dollar lesson. No fortress is deep enough to hide from the precision of the U.S. Marines. Maduro's mountain crumbled in 15 seconds, proving that American amphibious warfare doesn't need to knock on the door. They find the structural weakness you forgot even existed. Stay tuned for more breakdowns on naval dominance. Comment with the number 1 if you're with the U.S., or number 2 if you're with Venezuela.